Huh. As far as Mario platformers go, this one's pretty unusual. It's a typical Mario story with the rules tweaked a little. Luigi is the one getting kidnapped, Kamek is the one doing the kidnapping, and, well, Mario's just a baby and he needs Yoshi's help. Yoshi has several abilities that Mario lacks, even as an adult. He can flutter jump, giving his jumps just a little extra push. He can transform into a lot of different forms like helicopters and drills. And most importantly, he can eat enemies and somehow transform them into projectile eggs to throw. Aside from that, it's traditional Mario level structure. 6 worlds, 8 levels each, a tower midway through each world, and a castle at the end of each as well. The mission was a success. However, much like Donkey Kong Country 2 last week, the game required a lot of focus, and thus didn't have much commentary. So, like last time, we'll be skipping straight to the after-action report. There's a lot of pressure with this review. Many consider this game to be one of the best platformers ever made, if not one of the best games ever made, period. Not only that, Super Mario World is one of my favorite games ever, and this game, according to many, tops even that. Personally, I don't think it does. Wait, put down the pitchforks. I still think it's a masterpiece that holds up today. I don't think it's at the sheer godlike platforming level of quality that the first Super Mario World is at. But it's still pretty godlike, don't get me wrong. Maybe it's not fair to compare this to Super Mario World, despite the fact that it is technically a sequel. It's just a different kind of platformer. Yoshi's flutter jump changes everything. While Mario does have the odd power-up that slows him down on his descent, like the cape, this is just on a whole other level. Now, Yoshi has total control over where he falls. Hell, some speedrunners are so skilled that they don't even need to fall at all. This radically changes how the Mario formula plays, and thankfully, the levels changed with it. Every level is meticulously designed with this massive difference in mind. It reminds me of how different Mario Sunshine was to Mario 64 in a way. Another big change is the projectile that Yoshi is now able to throw. This also radically changes how fighting enemies works in the Mario universe, and like the flutter jump, the level design compensated masterfully towards this. Enemies and bonus items are in the air everywhere where the old Koopa shell projectile just couldn't reach back in the day. Players have to plan around where their eggs go even after they hit walls and skip across water, and it adds a whole new crazy nuance and vector to the game's design. All this is positive, for the most part. Aiming is pretty clunky and I could never get used to it, but I could nitpick about that all day. The third and final huge change is how the player loses lives. Typically, Mario just loses his power-ups gradually until he throws his hands in the air and has to try again. But now, Yoshi drops Mario and must pick him up before a timer depletes. This new mechanic is also huge because it prevents players from just powering through levels by damaging themselves. It discourages reckless play, and it makes Mario a more valuable package, which makes the players more invested in the story, as limited as it is. This new focus on slower, more cautious play results in a far more brutal and daunting game than is usually expected of Mario. There's more exploration, and you have to be way more careful than in something like Super Mario World. And for some people, this can make the game even more valuable. I've been saying nothing but good things about this game and its new mechanics, and yet I still think World to be the superior game. How can that be? Well, there is something that I believe Yoshi's Island lacks, and that is a sense of progression. It disappoints me when platformers rely on a typical linear level progression. The levels here are strictly numbered, and they can't be skipped at all. Secrets are found by collecting items and coins throughout the level. Compare this to Super Mario World, which force you to explore and find weird and odd exits here and there. Completing the game 100% required concentration and out-of-the-box thinking. I don't feel as clever when I find a ton of collectibles as much as I do when I found a single, well-hidden exit. I don't feel like I'm doing a chore, I feel like I've outsmarted the game. And yes, many of the collectibles in Yoshi's Island do require creative thinking to find, and that's excellent. But when you present all of this as statistics at the end of a level, it doesn't fill me with wonder like Mario games are often so good at doing. It makes me feel like I'm ticking items off of a checklist. Mario World felt like a real world. It had forests, mountains, bridges, haunted houses, and even a friggin' ghost ship. Yoshi's Island has those things too, but it's all presented in the samey crayon art style. It looks lovely, but when you see the same thing for this long, it starts to bore you no matter how pretty it looks. My point is that the original felt like a bona fide adventure. I didn't get that so much with Yoshi's Island. However, I will freely admit that Yoshi's Island is a better game when it comes to pure mechanics. The flutter jump and egg throwing is just so nuanced and interesting that it kinda makes up for the fact that Yoshi's Island is so different from the first Mario world. The fact that I didn't like Yoshi's Island as much is really my problem, and you might not have that problem. Hell, you probably don't have that problem. Maybe I'm just getting old and nostalgic because it's such a damn good game regardless. One final note is that the most readily available version is the Game Boy Advance version on the Wii U Virtual Console. That was the version I played, and after seeing the SNES version on YouTube, I'll admit that that's the superior version. If you have a Super Nintendo, get the game on that. If you don't, I guess the Wii U version will do, but do be ready for some out-of-frame knockouts. Still, it's a classic, and it's still worth playing. Alright, so that's Yoshi's Island. Next week we're moving on to one of Konami's biggest franchises. Huh, that's odd. We're not playing Metal Gear Solid. Hello?
DQP.
Speaking?
The offensive must be put on hold.
I don't understand.
V has come too.
Still don't understand.
Oh, for God's sake. Look at your Steam library. I think you know what this means. We need a refrigerated review. Not for any nation, not for any ideology, not for honor, not for power, not for the future, not for peace, not for revenge. Only for the love of Metal Gear. Do you accept?
I do.
Very well. It'll be an honor working with you.